All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about in the previous videos, which is liquidity pools, because yield farming has everything to do with liquidity pools and providing liquidity. In the most basic form, basically for yield farming, you go provide liquidity somewhere, and then you take your liquidity pool tokens and you give them, you basically lock them up for either a set amount of time or for however long you want, and you earn some rewards on it. All right, so that is the basics, the most basics of the most basics of yield farming. So let's just break it down so that you can understand. Now remember, we had liquidity pools. All right, so we're just calling it an LP, or we'll just call it a liquidity pool in case there's dummies watching. Liquidity pool, and we'll just call this USDC and ETH. Why? Because we like Ethereum. All right, so we're going to have some USDC and some ETH. All right, and we're going to have 1 ETH is equal to 2,000 USDC. Okay, so this is our liquidity pool. So in order for us to yield farm, what we're going to do is we're first going to add liquidity to this pool. So in order for us to add liquidity to this pool, we need to go acquire both assets. We need to go acquire some USDC, and we need to go acquire some Ethereum. All right, so we're going to go excuse me, we're going to go acquire 2 ETH, and we're going to go acquire 4,000 USDC. So now we have $8,000 worth of assets. We have 2 Ethereum. They're each worth $2,000, so that's $4,000. And we have 4,000 USDC. That's another $4,000. 4 and 4 is 8. So we have a total of $8,000. All right? So we're going to take these 2 assets, and we're going to give them to the liquidity pool, and we are going to provide liquidity. All right? So now if you remember, the liquidity pool itself is just a smart contract, and it's actually an ECR20 token. So it is a token just like USDC. It's a cryptocurrency itself, all right? Which means it can print out tokens, it can mint out tokens, and it does that to show receipt of a deposit. I have taken $8,000 and I've put the $8,000 in the pool. Remember why I would do that? Because I get some trading fee every time a trade happens between this pool. There's a fee that's associated to whoever wanted to make the trade, and the fees are paid out to the people who are actually providing the liquidity. All right, so whoever provides the liquidity, they get the fees. And in order to know who provided the liquidity and keep track of everything, when you provide liquidity, this contract is going to issue you liquidity pool tokens. Okay, so I'm going to get some liquidity pool tokens, and let's just say I get 7. All right, let's just say I get 7 for just a complete arbitrary reason. I'm getting 7. Now I could take these 7 tokens and I could give them back to this liquidity pool, and it would give me back my share of the liquidity. That may or may not be what I put inside there. It could be different. Remember, in the liquidity pool, we talked about impermanent loss and how you're exposed to impermanent loss. All right, but they're going to give me back my share of the liquidity. All right, based on what? It's based on my 7 tokens and how many tokens that there are in there. Okay, so if this guy has 14 LP tokens completely issued, I'm going to get 7 out of 14, so I'm going to get 50% of what's ever in this pool. All right, so that would happen if whenever I added this 2 ETH and the 4,000 USDC, if the pool only had 2 Ethereum and 4,000 USDC in it already, then whenever I put in mine and it gave me 7 tokens, then we would know it only had 14 tokens, because the tokens represent everybody's share in the liquidity pool, and it basically represents, okay, how much of each asset can you claim, because that's how much of a percentage that you've actually put in there. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, just rewatch the liquidity pool training, because it really goes over that and how that works. All right, so where yield farming comes in is what we're going to do with yield farming is we're going to take these 7 liquidity pool tokens, and then we're going to basically put them in a smart contract and do what's called staking. Now, when we do staking, we no longer get these liquidity pool tokens. These guys actually, what they do is they give us another token. Okay, so we get another token from this contract. It creates another token and gives us that token to represent our stake that we've put in here. And what we've put in here are these liquidity pool tokens, and these liquidity pool tokens represent our stake in the liquidity over there. So we need these tokens to get back our $8,000 that we put over here, okay? If we don't have these tokens, we can't come over here and we can't get back out our money that we put inside the liquidity pool. We can't get our liquidity back, all right? So we need these tokens in order to go over here and get back our liquidity. But we're going to take these tokens and we're going to transfer these tokens to this contract right here. And this contract is going to give us another token. And that token represents our stake in this contract. We can take this token, give it back to this contract, and this contract will give us back these tokens. And then we can take these tokens, give it back to this contract, and this contract will give us back our share of the liquidity. All right? So hopefully you're following so far, and that has made sense so far. Now, why would we do this? Well, we do this because here, over here, we're getting some, we're going to call it APY. Okay? We're getting some APY for providing liquidity. So remember, every time there's a trade over here, if someone trades Ethereum for USDC coin, or if someone trades USDC coin for Ethereum, every single time there is a trade, there is a liquidity provider trading fee. So whoever's making the trade, if you want to buy some Ethereum from here, you're going to have to give them some United States dollar coin to get your Ethereum, and they're going to levy a small fee. That small fee is typically 0.3%. So it's not even a full percent, it's 0.3%. So it's kind of a nominal fee, but these pools typically have very high trade volume. I mean, some of these pools do $1 billion a day in trading volume. So even though there's only 0.03% fee, they're doing, the fee is not based on how much money is in the pool. It's based on what the total trade volume is. And this trade volume can actually be indefinite, because you can just be trading back and forth. You can actually just be trading back and forth, right? People are giving Ethereum to get USDC coin. People are giving USDC coin to get out Ethereum. Every time there's a trade, a fee happens. The fee is stuck inside the liquidity pool. And the only way you can get your fee is you take these tokens, give them back to the liquidity provider. They will give you back the liquidity that you gave plus your share of the fees. But this APY, this fee that you generate for providing liquidity, it is locked inside this pool. It doesn't just get sent to you. In order to get your fees, you have to actually remove your liquidity. All right? So you remove your liquidity, and whenever you remove your liquidity, you get back whatever you provided, your share of the pool, plus you get the fees that you've earned for providing liquidity. All right? But what we're going to do is we're going to take our liquidity pool tokens and we're going to farm them out. So we're going to actually give them to this contract and basically lock them in there. And when I say basically lock them in there, what I mean is we're giving them to that contract. We no longer have them. We don't possess them anymore. So we can't go remove our liquidity from here, because in order to remove our liquidity, we need these tokens, and we transferred these tokens to this guy over here. So hopefully you guys are following all that, and that makes sense. I'm going to just grab my coffee real quick. So if I want to remove my liquidity, I have another step. I can't just go remove my liquidity. I first need to take the tokens that I got from this guy, give him back the tokens, and whenever this guy gives me back the tokens, now I have the tokens. Now I can come over here. I can remove my liquidity. But there is an extra step for me to actually remove my liquidity. All right? So, hold on. Let my surface come back. Let my whiteboard come back. Got it. All right. So now the reason I say lock them up, now I said I'm going to basically lock them up. And the reason I said I'm going to basically lock them up is because I do give them to this contract. And depending on where I'm doing farming at, depending on where I'm yield farming, I may have to lock them up for a set amount of time. So I may have to lock them up for 7 days minimum or 30 days. All right. Or there may be a penalty. Or there may not be a penalty for withdrawing, but I may only get my rewards every 7 days, or I may only get my rewards every 24 hours. I can harvest my rewards, all right? So that really depends on who's providing the farm. So if the people providing the farm are requiring me to lock up my funds for 7 days, then they're stuck in there for 7 days. I can't get them out for 7 days. If the people in there that are actually providing the funds are charging me or providing the farm, if they require me, if they only let me get my rewards, my money, if they only let me harvest my farm every 24 hours, well then my funds are kind of locked up a day at a time. They're not totally locked up because I could go get them back, but I'm going to lose whatever money that I had earned by farming, all right? So this you can check wherever the farm's at. They'll tell you. The yield farms that I use, there's no lockup time. I can withdraw anytime I want, and I can also harvest the rewards anytime I want. As the rewards accumulate in real time, and I can harvest them anytime I want, which is why I use those liquidity farms. All right? So anyways, we're going to give these tokens over here. This guy now holds our token. They give us another token, and now we start to earn rewards. All right? So now they start to actually pay us rewards for essentially farming our liquidity. Because what we've done is we've created another layer, and we can see, hey, how much money is locked up here. If I go in and I have this liquidity and I've started farming it over here, once I get this token, if I give this guy this token back, there's a very good indication that now that I gave him the token back and I got this, there's a very good indication that the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to give them over there, and I'm going to get back my liquidity, all right? So this is a very good indication that there's about to be a lot less liquidity inside this pool. And if you remember on the liquidity pool video, we talked about it does not matter how much liquidity is in this pool when it comes to the fees that are generated. But what does matter when it comes to the liquidity in this pool is the change in price per trade, okay? The less liquidity in this pool, the greater the change in price when you do a trade. As there's more and more liquidity, the change in price is less and less. Meaning, look, if this pool right here has 1 ETH and 2,000 USDC, and that's all that's in this pool, if I make a $1,000 trade and I give $1,000 to get out some Ethereum, the change in price of Ethereum is going to be much greater than it would be if I made that same trade and there was 100 Ethereum and $2 million or $200,000, okay? So if there's 100 Ethereum in here and $200,000, when I make that $1,000 trade, the change in price of Ethereum is going to be much, much, much less than if there was only 1 Ethereum and $2,000 in here. So the larger the liquidity pool and the more amount of funds in the liquidity pool, the less price movement there is per trade. So many people want, in order to have price stability, they want the liquidity pools to be big. because the bigger they are, the less of a change in price there is as per the constant product algorithm that the liquidity pool uses to set the price of each asset. All right? So if you want to make sure, and besides that, all right, if you think if this pool has 1 Ethereum and it has $2,000 in it, if you wanted to go spend $4,000, you would not be able to do that in this pool. There's not enough liquidity for your $4,000. One, you would create a massive price movement, okay? Because you're giving $2,000 and there's only $2,000 in this pool and 1 Ethereum. So you're not going to be able to get 1 whole Ethereum out. You're going to put in your $2,000. You won't get 1 Ethereum out. You'll get less than 1 Ethereum. And you've actually put in 100% of what's in here. There's $2,000 in here, and you want to put another $2,000 in there. That's too much of a price movement that trade is creating. So it will actually fail. The trade will fail. It won't let you do it. It will literally tell you, nope, you're creating too much of a price movement. Why? Because the liquidity is low. So if you want to be able to enable large trades, like if you want to be able to enable a trade of $1 million, you need at least $100 million in your liquidity pool. Well, you actually need at least $200 million because you're going to have $100 million of one asset, $100 million of another asset if you don't want the price movement. So if you have $100 million in one asset, $100 million in the other asset, your liquidity pool has $200 million worth of liquidity. If you make a $1 million trade in here, you're going to cause a 1% price movement. Does that make sense? So the liquidity pools, they want to be as big as possible because the larger they are, the larger trades they can facilitate with the lowest price movement, which keeps the price from going all over the place. All right? So this is where the yield farming comes in, where they incentivize people and they say, hey, you've got this asset, you've got that asset. Instead of just holding on to the asset, why not provide liquidity and then take the liquidity pool tokens and then you just give them to us over here and we'll pay you rewards on top of those. We'll give you rewards on top of those, and you can make some extra money. If you want to remove your liquidity, just let us know and give us back our tokens. You can get back your tokens and then you can go remove your liquidity. But in this process is a huge market indicator, and the market can understand, okay, hey, these people are done farming their liquidity, so they're probably going to remove liquidity over here. So now the market, since it's all in the blockchain, they can see, okay, liquidity is about to exit over here. We may want to sell our assets. All right. So why would they incentivize you to do this? Well, most of the time, the people that are incentivizing you to do yield farmings are the decentralized exchanges. All right. Maybe you're familiar with Uniswap. It's a decentralized exchange, like the go-to decentralized exchange for the Ethereum network. Now, in order for people to use Uniswap, there has to be liquidity. Uniswap doesn't want to have hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars of their own capital sitting in these pools so people can trade. It's decentralized. It's your money that's sitting in these pools. So if people are going to use Uniswap to trade assets, there has to be liquidity pools. So Uniswap is going to incentivize you to provide liquidity. And the way that they're going to incentivize you is say, hey, you provide liquidity, and then, you know, just to be sure, you lock it up over in this contract, you stick it in this contract, which lets us know you intend to keep providing that liquidity. And if you want to stop providing that liquidity, we will know about it because you'll have to give us back the tokens so that you can get these tokens so you can remove your liquidity, and we'll automatically know once you give us our tokens to get these that you're probably going to remove your liquidity. We'll know about that. All right. So the decentralized exchanges, that's the main people who are going to incentivize and pay the rewards for you yield farming. And then the other people, there is another actor, and the other actor is the token creator. All right. So, for example, me with MuCoin, when I created MuCoin, if I didn't want to provide all the liquidity myself and I wanted other people to provide the liquidity, I could have went to the decentralized exchange and I could have bought their DeFi token. So with Uniswap, it's the token Uni, all right? With Aave, it's the token Aave. With Trader Joe's, it's Joe. With Sushi Swap, it's sushi. With Pancake Swap, it's cake, all right? This is the token for the decentralized exchange, and that is the actual rewards token, all right? So the decentralized exchange, remember the decentralized exchanges are making a percentage of this, all right? So what actually happens is in these liquidity pools, there's typically a 0.3%, there's typically a 0.3% fee, and typically 0.05% of that goes to the DEX, the decentralized exchange, and 0.025 of that goes to the people providing liquidity, all right? So the decentralized exchange, even though they provide no liquidity, they earn money. You provide the liquidity, you get most of the fee, but so does the decentralized exchange. They get this on all trades, and they don't have to provide any liquidity whatsoever. So they generate revenue. They use this revenue to back their decentralized exchange token, and then that token is what they pay you whenever you are farming yield, whenever you're yield farming. They pay you in that token, all right? So the decentralized exchanges will pay you, and then the other person that will pay you would be this token creator. In this example, it's Ethereum, but it could have easily been MuCoin. I could have easily made this MuCoin, and I could have went to Trader Joe's, the decentralized exchange, and I could have bought a bunch of their DeFi token, Joe, and I could have said, hey, look, I want to offer incentive for people to provide liquidity in Mu. So I've bought this much Joe, and I want to offer this as an incentive for people to actually provide liquidity, and then they'll manage everything for me, and it's literally me providing it. So a lot of tokens do that, and those tokens, I personally stay away from those tokens because those tokens are most of the time, it's a good indication that they're going to do a rug pull, or the price is going to be very volatile, and most people are going to actually end up losing money. So I typically don't farm any type of coins like that. All right. So in essence, this is yield farming. In essence, all yield farming is providing liquidity to some pool, and then taking your liquidity pool tokens and basically staking them in a contract to be able to get passive rewards, to be able to earn additional income outside of these fees over here, all right? And typically, this income is income that you can realize automatically, all right? So this is typically income that you can realize automatically. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of this. I think I will try to give you an example of this. Oh, no, I won't give you an example because I don't have it on this machine. I actually removed it. I actually removed it from this machine for security reasons. So I actually uninstalled MetaMask from that machine because other people are using my computer. I didn't want them having access to my crypto wallet. All right, so I won't show you an example. Maybe I'll make another video in my other office and I'll show you an example. But this, in essence, is yield farming. Like I said, all you're going to do is you're going to provide liquidity, and then you're going to take your liquidity pool tokens, and you're basically going to stake them and lock them up. And in return, you're going to generate rewards that you can go in and harvest. In most places, you can harvest them anytime that you want. You can go out multiple times through the day because the rewards are generated in real time. And those are rewards that you get in real time. Remember, these rewards and this money that you're earning is locked up in the liquidity pool. In order to get this money, your fees from providing liquidity, you have to take your liquidity pool tokens and you have to remove your liquidity, and inside there will be the fees that you generated. All right? This farming allows you to generate the rewards and get paid and get that money daily or get that money every hour and still leave your liquidity in the pool so you can still generate more fees over here, all right? So hopefully that makes sense. That's what yield farming is, and you'll understand once I dive into the Mu ecosystem how we use yield farming to generate passive rewards for ourselves and for the people that are actually in the Mu ecosystem, and to help stabilize the price of Mu and keep Mu always going up regardless of whether people are buying or selling mu.